Hello everybody and welcome to today's video. Today I am hopefully going to whiz through in some capacity my big summer TBR and haul from the library. So I thought I'd quickly whiz through the books that I have shown in hauls before. There are 4 of those. So we have Crater Lake by Jennifer Killick, which is a YA horror thriller about children on a summer camp. There is the first book in the Wild Magic trilogy called Begone the Raggedy Witches by Celine Kiernan, and this is about our main character's mum who's been kidnapped by witches. She, her brother and a dog have to go on a rescue mission. Then there's The Monsters of Brookhaven by Padraig Kenny. This one is about a magical glamour that's protecting the unusual family from the human world. And the last of the books I've definitely already shown is The House of Mirrors by Erin Kelly, which is set in the 60s, I think. No, that is a complete lie. It's set in 1997. It's a murder mystery by the sounds of things. So those are the books I've already spoken about. Let's get on to the ones that I'm hoping to get through and prioritise throughout the summer. The one that I'm currently reading is Where Are You From? No, Where Are You Really From by Audrey Osler, and this is kind of like a memoir journalistic piece documenting her ancestry, and it's kind of like with the perspective of Britain having this weird notion that they only kind of became multicultural during the war, when people were like invited over to help out the effects of, you know, the devastation of the effects of war. But, you know, black people, Indian, Pakistani people have been in Britain and kind of liaising and travelling back and going forth for multiple times before that. So this kind of dives a little into that, as well as having the personal history of her family and interracial relationships, how they were viewed in various different places. And yeah, I'm really enjoying it so far. I'm not too far in, but I am about 15 pages and I'm really enjoying it. Next up, I have a manga. I've been wanting to read this one for a while. Well, specifically, I've been wanting to watch the anime, but I thought it's there. One of the other librarians recommended it to me and said it was hilarious, so I thought I'd give it a go. And this is The Way of the House Husband by Kusuke Uno. This is about an ex-Yakuza member who is trying to leave gang life and settle in to the way of a house husband. And apparently everything he does is super dramatic and extra, as if he's still in the Yakuza. And I'm just really looking forward to diving into this series. After that, I have a thriller to share with you. This one is over a period of time following 3 women, and this is The Bleeding by Joanna Gustafsson. We are following 3 women, one in 1899, one in 1949 and one in 2002. Basically, they all link in a discovery that is revealed that links directly to historical cases involving black magic, murder, secret societies and spiritualism, which connects all 3 women from past, present, future all together, and women at breaking point who will go to terrifying lengths to protect the ones they love. This sounds fabulous and I loved that. It was a kind of littler book with some beautiful orange edges, and it's kind of got that witchy vibe with a generation story, and I adore that sort of story. The small book, I've got a couple of small books to share actually, but I'm sure they're going to pack a punch. Slade House by David Mitchell. I remember when this was doing the rounds on BookTube years and years ago. Turn down Slade Alley, narrow, dank and easy to miss even when you're looking for it. Find the small black iron door set into the right hand wall. No handle, no keyhole, but at your touch it swings open. Enter the sunlight garden of an old house that doesn't quite make sense, too grand for the shabby neighbourhood, too large for the space it occupies. A stranger greets you by name and invites you inside. At first you won't want to leave, later you find that you can't. This unnerving, taut and intricately woven tale by one of our most original and bewitching writers begins in 1979 and reaches its turbulent conclusion around Halloween 2015, because every 9 years on the last Saturday of October a guest is summoned to Slade House. But why has that person been chosen? By whom and for what purpose? The answers lie awaiting in the long attic at the top of the stairs. So this is not what I thought it was about at all, but it is something that I am still very interested in. I am really excited to give this a go. It sounds quite magical and it's got such a cool cover. Next up, I have one that I saw, well actually these 4 that I'm going to show you in a second, including this one, are from when I was shelving today. Shelving is dangerous, I find. It's when you're, you know, putting books back on the shelf or you're looking for a particular book to save for another person on reservations. But that's when I see all the books that I want to read and I start checking them out for me, if they don't have any holes on them, of course. But anyway, one of these is Jacqueline Roy, The Gosling Girl. And again, I'm going in different genres than I wouldn't automatically go at the shops. So it's, you know, piquing my interest, it's widening my horizons. And this one is following a story about a girl who's just been released from prison, I do believe, and I think it's about racial stereotyping and friction. So she's a black woman who has been accused of luring a little white girl away from her parents, and she has ended up dead. Whether she's killed her or implemented in some way, that has been the assumption, right? And done her time, she's released as a young woman with a new identity to start her life again until another shocking death occurs close to her. When she's brought in for police questioning, it's only a matter of time until the press find out who she is and set about destroying her all over again. Oh wow. And then there's a confliction for the police officer that's on the case as well. Natalie Tyler, who is brought in to investigate the murder, is a black detective constable, and she's ostracized from her family and often feels like she's in the wrong job. But when she meets Michelle, she feels a complicated need to protect her, whatever she might have done. This sounds thrilling. I think I'm gonna hopefully enjoy this, and I think it's gonna have a lot of communication about like racial stereotypes, profiling, that sort of thing within like the crime spectre, you know. Weather by Jenny or Phil. Honestly, I feel like I recognise the cover. That's the only reason I picked it up. It's another little itty bitty one, but I think it is like literary fiction. Yeah, it's published by Granta, and I'm pretty sure I've seen maybe someone like Mercy's Bookish Musings talk about it in the past. So let's find out what this is together. Lizzie Benson slid into her job as a librarian. Oh, I read that sentence and I was like, yes, hello, without a traditional degree. But this gives her a vantage point from which to practice her other calling as an unofficial shrink. For years, she has supported her God-haunted mother and her recovering addict brother. They have both stabilised for the moment, but then her old mentor, Sylvia Leah, makes a proposal. Sylvia has become famous for her prescient, how do you pronounce that, podcast, Hell and High Water, and wants to hire Lizzie to answer the mail she receives from left-wingers worried about climate change and right-wingers worried about the decline of Western civilization. As Lizzie drives into this polarised world, she begins to wonder what it means to keep tending your own garden once you've seen the flames beyond its walls, and all the while the voices of the city keep floating in. Funny, disturbing, and increasingly mad. Oh, okay. I'm intrigued. It's also got a nice, looks like it's a nice, easy, user-friendly way to read, the way it's broken up. So hopefully I could whiz through that and enjoy that. One of the books that I was shelving today. These are the other books. I kind of forgot that I was, you know, there was a little pile there. So I have a book for older readers. This is a picture book for older readers, sorry. And I think I've read something by John Klassen before. I had to just jump onto my other camera, well, my other phone. I'm using my old phone as my camera at the moment. Jump onto my current phone because it timed out. I didn't have enough storage, basically. So let's try it. And also in changing that around, I flipped off my middle nail. The nails are all coming off. It's a catastrophe. Anyway, I didn't realise that it had stopped recording when I was talking about another book. So I'm going to go back to The Skull. So I had read that, Where Is My Hat? No, I Want My Hat. Anyway, this is a old story. It's a reimagining of a traditional Tylorian folktale about Attila who runs away, and also about a house in the woods that's occupied by a skull living in the house that has a secret. Attila finds this house, stumbles upon the skull, and soon learns that secret. Then I was going on and on and on about how this is potentially going to be my first Helen Oyeyemi book, and I don't think it's actually supposed to look like this, but it's absolutely stunning. I'm pretty sure the spine's like broken off, but it does look gorgeous, so maybe it's an artistic thing, but at the same time I'm not sure. It's gorgeous. This is her short collection story called What Is Not Yours Is Not Yours, and it's got stories for all sorts of themes, it feels. It says, the reader is invited into a world of lost libraries and locked gardens, of marshlands where the drowned dead live, and a city where all the clocks have stopped. Students hone their skills at puppet school, the homely wench society commits a guerrilla book swap, and lovers exchange books and roses on St. George's Day. It's a collection of towering imagination marked by baroque beauty and deep sensuousness. So I think it'll be good to start off with a short collection, because there are quite a few that I want to get to by her, and I don't know where to start, and I think maybe a short collection will guide me into her books and kind of her writing style in general without the big commitment of a full-length story, you know. I've got Derek Owusu's Losing the Plot. This one was another one that I just picked up because I really liked the cover, and then I read a little bit and it sounded absolutely fantastic. It's basically about his desire to learn more about his mother's life before she had him. He has created this imagining of her journey from Ghana to the UK, parenthood and all that it comes with, often lonely environment. The effects of her displacement are felt across generations. It's told through the eyes of both mother and son. Just looks like it's written in prose almost in some parts. It's just beautiful. It looks like it's going to be a beautiful book. I picked up another Jennifer Killick book. I think this is mainly a collection of short stories, and yeah, it's sort of curated by her. 13 spine-tingling tales. Read, scream, repeat. And her covers just look so cool. 13 different authors within the YA sphere, with game zombies hunting you in the real world, a graveyard ghost on a mission, flesh-eating aliens lurking in the darkness, a cursed pond that wants to drag you down, down, down into the depths. Read, Scream, Repeat is a chilling collection of brand new short stories by 13 terrifyingly talented authors. So what looks like the last 5 now. So I have Disturbance by Jenna Clark. This looks like it's going to be a literary fiction as well. That it's for fans of Boy Parts and My Year of Rest and Relaxation, which I haven't read either of those yet. I want to see, I think My Year of Rest and Relaxation is or has been turned into a film, and I would like to watch that, but it's not something that I would read per se. You know, sometimes you have categories of, yeah, I'd watch it, and yeah, I'd read that, but they don't often cross over. That sounds like something for me. It's really cool. So the setting is feverishly hot July. We're coming into July, so you know, it seems like a good time to be reading it. A young woman witnesses 2 teenagers carrying out what looks like some sort of occult ritual to banish an ex-boyfriend, and she's desperate to expel these memories of an abusive ex herself, so she gets tangled within the lives of these teens. And then there's that question of whether everything she's going through is psychological or paranormal, but I hope it's done in a way that doesn't just you know, blame the crazies. I don't like it when it's like that. I want a proper breakdown of sort of like psychosis, if that's what it is, in a sympathetic way, in an understanding way, and educational. So I'm intrigued to see what's going to be done with that. Up, I have Radical Love by Neil Blackmore, and this is about a minister who has like a double life. He goes to a molly house on Vere Street where ordinary men reinvent themselves as queens, lads on the make flirt with labourers and princes alike, and John finds himself ordaining marriages between men at enormous risk to everyone involved. He meets the unworldly and free-thinking Ned, one of a group of African abolitionists who attend his chapel. John falls in love with Ned's tender nature and discovers how quickly desire can turn into obsession. Oh wow, it's based on a true story of one of the most important events in queer history. That's amazing. Okay, I really am intrigued by this, even more so knowing that it's based on a true story. Okay, so last 3 books we're getting to now. So I have been reading, accidentally it feels, but now I've kind of accidentally on purpose, been reading a lot of books about, well, not a lot, but enough to make it like a strange coincidence when it has been accidental, but books about the King Arthur stories and Avalon. And so I saw this one. It looked like it's an independently published book, and I think we only had 1 in, so I want to check it out. This is the Tales of Avalon series, book 1, 2 and 3, like, so it's combined, and it's got pictures in it as well. Let me just go back to the one that I've flipped through, so hopefully I enjoy it. This is by Daisy Bourne. Yeah, so it's basically 9 fantasy books, but this is the first 3, inspired by what may have happened after the death of King Arthur. These Button Box, The Final Task. This is by Stephen King and Richard Chismar. I didn't know that there was a 3rd book for the longest time, but I had borrowed both the 1st and 2nd book from the library multiple years ago, and I really enjoyed them, so I think it'd be a good idea to conclude. Basically, it's about a 12-year-old girl called Gwendy who randomly one day sees this man in like this top hat. He's very mysterious, and he gives her this box, like this button box, and he's kind of given her a task. Like, inside is a button where if you press it, it will, you know, it's like World War III, bombs will go off, nuclear waste to all the land, everything can be reset in a better way potentially, but everything is going to be in chaos and death and everything. And he leaves this in the hand of a 12-year-old to decide the fate. This is the conclusion of that. And then lastly, I have The Door of No Return by Kwame Alexander. It's written in prose poetry. 11-year-old Kofi Ofin has dreams of water, of its urgent whisper that beckons with promises and secrets. He has heard the call on the banks of Upper Kwanta, West Africa, where he lives. He loves these things above all else: his family, the fireside tales of his father's father, a girl named Amma, and of course, swimming. But when the unthinkable, a sudden death, occurs during a festival between rival villages, Kofi ends up in a fight for his life. What happens next will send him on a harrowing journey across land and sea and away from everything he loves. Yet Kofi's dreams may be the key to his freedom. So that is it. Those are all the books that I have out from the library to get reading over the summer period. So yes, do let me know if you've read any of these yourselves, if you recommend to get to any of these first. Obviously, these are like my priority reads now because they are, you know, from the library, and I'm sure there's some that have holds and people wanting to read them next, so I can't keep them out forever. But yeah, that is it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. Shall catch you in another video soon. Bye.